The impact of climate change and nature loss can no longer be ignored. The oceans are heating up, the atmosphere is heating up, and this is increasing the amount of energy in the system. What we're seeing is more erratic weather patterns in the form of increased hurricane speeds, flooding, wildfires, and drought. These events are becoming increasingly difficult to predict and more complex to insure. Our shareholders have a long-term outlook, allocating capital to prior risks and to risks into the future, and so the climate change agenda is pivotal to our purpose of making the world more resilient. Climate change risks manifest themselves in the finance industry in the form of extensive property damage and business interruption. Other risks also arise from the loss of value in assets that are less desirable in a green economy, and these are commonly known as stranded assets. Insured losses from weather-related events over the last decade are $63 billion annually. What is even more alarming is that uninsured losses are larger than this number, and this is before counting the unquantifiable loss of human life. Like everywhere else, the impact of climate change cannot be ignored in Africa. Close to 2/3 of the workforce derives its livelihood from agriculture, be it in small-scale farming or in the rural areas. Most of this agricultural activity is largely uninsured, leaving these communities incredibly vulnerable and less resilient. We've seen the cyclones off the coast of Mozambique, the flooding in Malawi, and the drought across sub-Saharan Africa. Incredibly sad images, and it creates an imperative for us to think much more seriously about the impacts of climate change for these very vulnerable and less resilient communities. In the reinsurance industry, we've been thinking about climate change since the 70s. We've been asking ourselves questions around our own carbon footprint. Investments in reinsurance and insurance number in the trillions of dollars. These investments can be transitioned to support sustainable business, investment in infrastructure projects in green energy. We're seeing a shift in attitudes. People care about climate change. Our people want to work for a company that has a purpose that is clear on sustainability. I think this gives us a competitive advantage in attracting and retaining people. Climate change presents incredible opportunities for financial innovation. In insurance, we're looking at revenue coverage for renewable energy. This means insuring against no wind for a wind farm, or insuring against no sunshine for solar panels, or against drought for hydroelectric energy. Such innovations are just the beginning of what is possible with financial innovation to combat climate change. It is clear that achieving net zero by 2050 needs to be done in a timely and well-coordinated manner. The finance sector can play a meaningful contribution towards combating climate change, but it cannot do it alone. We need a coordinated response across many sectors: government, energy, technology, the legislative and regulatory environment, bringing all these together to make a meaningful impact against climate change. I'm hopeful that because of the many lessons we've learned from our past calamities and disasters, that we will change our approach to climate change. And maybe this is the thing that ultimately does bring us together. I work in an industry that I believe is part of the solution. And as a family man, I do wonder what kind of world my children will grow up in. I hope that we'll be able to say to them that we did enough when we could.